What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Tranquil Living Uruguay podcast. If you are curious about what travel around South America actually looks like when you are living in Uruguay, then this episode is for you. I share what it's actually like flying, ferrying, and road tripping in and around Uruguay. If you're considering moving to Uruguay, or if you're already living here, this episode offers a realistic look at how connected or disconnected you might feel when traveling around South America. So, location-wise, Uruguay sits in the southern eastern edge of South America, nestled between Argentina and Brazil. Because it's small and not a major airline hub, many assume it's isolated. Personally, I don't feel it is isolated, but it's also not a mega hub for travel. First, I'll start with flights and flying in and out of Montevideo, the capital city of Uruguay. Montevideo's Carrasco International Airport is airport code MVD. This is your main airport when you live in Uruguay. It's actually one of my all-time favorite airports to fly in and out of because it's small, it's efficient, and easy to navigate and get in and out of. Parking is easy and simple, which is a plus. There's no parking garage. You just park in the lot right in front of the airport entrance. There are only 8 boarding gates in the terminal of Montevideo's airport. 4 have jetways direct to the plane, and the other 4 do not, which means you have to walk down a flight of stairs or go down an elevator to the bottom floor. And from there, you board a shuttle bus directly to the airplane on the tarmac. Once you're there, you hop on the bus and they wait for it to get filled before actually taking off to the plane. So sometimes there is a little bit of waiting time on that shuttle bus, but overall, it's pretty easy, quick, and simple. Unless you're dragging a stroller, then it's a little bit of a headache, but other than that, easy. Unless you're flying during busy times of the year, getting in and out of the airport is pretty simple. There's only one terminal, like I said, and one area for security where you go through immigration before getting into the gates area. And security is pretty straightforward. Direct flights from Montevideo to other major South American cities are Buenos Aires, São Paulo, Santiago, and Panama City. These main direct flights are to like regional hubs in South and Latin America, which from there you can connect to anywhere in the world. Buenos Aires is just a 20-30 minute flight on usually Aerolíneas Argentinas. Sao Paulo in Brazil is 3 hours on LATAM or GOL Airlines. Santiago is 2.5 hours on LATAM, Sky, or JetSmart. And Panama City, Panama is a 7-hour flight direct on Copa Airlines. We've taken flights to Buenos Aires, which is the short 30-minute flight. Quick, easy. And also to Panama City, Panama, which is a 7-hour flight. Unfortunately, neither of these flights had Wi-Fi. And I know Copa Airlines will be adding Wi-Fi to their planes at some point this year. Thank God. It's just like hard to, if you're traveling as a family, it's hard to entertain a kid on a 7-hour flight. So be prepared, bring your Kindle, download shows, movies, whatever you can do. And if you'd like to travel to Europe, there are also consistent direct flights to Madrid from Montevideo. I believe they're daily, if not almost daily. Seasonal direct flights from Montevideo include like Florianopolis and Bariloche. And we've taken flights to both of those cities, and they're pretty easy. But again, no Wi-Fi. I just don't understand what is up with these airlines not having Wi-Fi. So make sure to bring a Kindle, like I said, or download your favorite shows and movies to your devices so you don't get too bored. Sometimes these flights do have odd hours since they're seasonal. So for example, our flight to Florianopolis, well, the flight back from Florianopolis had like a 1 a.m. return flight time, which was not ideal for a family, but it was worth saving the hassle from having to do a layover in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Flights to Miami are also seasonal. and they're only available during high season, which is from December to March, April time frame. So for the Americans out there, that is going to be your time to do an easy flying route back to the United States or to Canada. But other than that, flying around South America is pretty straightforward when you have those major hubs they can easily connect to from Montevideo. Unfortunately, Montevideo itself is not a major hub. It just doesn't have the volume to support like dozens of direct routes, which is sad. So your best bet for accessing other popular South American cities and destinations is connecting through these regional major hubs. So the second option for travel is the ferry to Buenos Aires, Argentina. And this is a huge advantage for Uruguayans or anyone living in Uruguay. There are two ferry companies and two different ways to travel direct to Buenos Aires, Argentina from Uruguay. So for ferry option number one, the ferry company is called Buquebus, and purchasing tickets online is easy. If you sign up for their email like newsletter list, they do send probably about every month or every other month discount codes of 20 to 30% off ticket prices. So make sure to take advantage of that if you are considering traveling to Buenos Aires on the Buquebus. And on this ferry, you can either go direct from the port of Montevideo to the port of Buenos Aires. This ends up being a 3-hour ferry ride from Montevideo. It's very comfortable. They have a duty-free shop on board. The Wi-Fi does not always work, so be warned. I'm very particular about the Wi-Fi these days. I don't know. The systems were down, and it was even a situation where, like in the duty-free shop, we were only able to pay in cash and not by credit card because their system was down. I don't know. It is what it is. And sometimes you just have to be tranquilo and go with the flow. So the second option for the Buquebus is that you can take the bus from the Tres Cruces bus terminal in Montevideo, which is a 2-hour coach bus ride to the city of Colonia del Sacramento. And from there, you board a ferry that is a 1-hour ferry ride from the port of Colonia del Sacramento, to the port of Buenos Aires. And then the third option for the Buquebus is just to already be in Colonia del Sacramento on your own, and then just take the 1-hour ferry ride over to Buenos Aires. And that's the cheapest option. The second ferry option is the company called Colonia Express. With this company, you can take the bus from Tres Cruces bus terminal in Montevideo, 2-hour bus ride, just like the other one, to Colonia del Sacramento, and then from there board the ferry for another 1-hour ride to Buenos Aires. Or the second option is you can already be in Colonia del Sacramento and then just take the 1-hour ferry over to Buenos Aires. Again, that's usually the cheapest option. But in general, the ferry is really neat. It's comfortable. Going through immigration and customs is easy. You go through immigration before you board, and when you arrive in Buenos Aires, you go through customs, and after you grab your bags. So it's just like in the airport. They have carousels. Sometimes they line up the luggage for you already, so just get backed up. And it's a little chaotic, I'll warn you, grabbing your bags with like the mass rush of people coming off the boat. So just be prepared for that. Cars are allowed to go on the ferry, and they're parked underneath in the bodega is what they call it. And usually the cars are let off first. And there's also a tiered ticket situation too. So you can have like the regular class ticket, or there's like a VIP lounge option where I think it's like more comfortable area. They have snacks, etc. And you can be like one of the first ones off the boat if that's your priority. And then for the ferry, like I said, the general, it's comfortable. It's a kind of like a free-for-all for the seating. It's no assigned seating. You can sit wherever you want. Unless the ferry is sold out, there are plenty of seats available to choose from. And like I said, the one issue I had was the Wi-Fi not working. But other than that, pretty comfortable, smooth ride. Same scenario coming back from Buenos Aires to Montevideo. And I think the great thing is that it's just a reliable mode of transportation. Um, the best is to plan to arrive like 30 minutes to an hour before the time that it takes off. But if you're in a large group, obviously the earlier the better. Living on the outskirts of Montevideo, I personally prefer taking the direct ferry ride from the port of Montevideo to Buenos Aires, and that's solely just to avoid multiple modes of transportation. If we did the bus ferry route, then I'd have to either drive to the bus terminal or take an Uber to the bus terminal, then do the bus to Colonia, and then from Colonia do the ferry to Buenos Aires. And once I get to Buenos Aires, I'd have to take an Uber or taxi to my hotel or Airbnb. And when you're traveling with kids or as a family, it's just like a bit much. So the more direct route is preferred personally. And just Buenos Aires is really cool. It's easy to do a weekend trip there and come back, especially since they have like four different ferry timing options for you to choose from. So yeah, so Buenos Aires is fun. It's a huge major South American city. It's like the New York City of South America. It's worth going to. You want to get like your big city fix in, eat all the good food. Like I said, it feels like the New York City of South America. And living in Uruguay, where like the city life is a lot calmer, I have to admit that I think it was about 3 years into us living in Uruguay that we went to Buenos Aires for the first time. And I was a bit overwhelmed with like sensory overload. And it was so fun. It caught me off guard because I'm used to big cities in the United States. I've lived in bustling cities on the East Coast, on the West Coast, and from the city, New Orleans in the South. So, it was funny for me to have been conditioned to the tranquilo lifestyle due to my Uruguayan environment. It caught me off guard that it happened that way. But yeah, but in general, just being close to Buenos Aires is a game changer for Uruguay, especially when it comes to access to connecting to flights all around the world. You have all the options available to you there. The third option for travel is road tripping by bus or by car. So, being in a Mercosur country, Uruguayans or residents within Uruguayan cedula can freely move about through Mercosur countries like Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Chile, just by showing your ID. The one exception is Brazil for Americans, where beginning March, April of last year in 2025, you need to have a visa to enter the country solely because you are US born. So showing your Uruguayan cedula or ID won't work because it says your nationality is American or you're born in the US. If you have a vehicle that you own here in Uruguay, when you purchase car insurance, there is a certificate called El Certificado de Seguro Mercosur that accompanies your car insurance, meaning that you still get coverage while driving in these Mercosur countries. It comes included in your policy, and you just keep a copy of it in your vehicle. Most people travel to Argentina or Brazil via car here, and by doing so, you will go through tolls, or as they call, telepeaje, when you're driving on the highways here in Uruguay. There's no need to carry cash for the tolls. That used to be a thing, but now everything's electronic. There are two options when you go through the toll. One lane is the cobro automático, and this is the option where the camera scans your license plate and charges you the fee via SUSIVE, which your SUSIVE account, it's the comprehensive all-in-one portal to pay your car tax, check for any outstanding traffic tickets, speeding, parking tickets, and tolls. And you can just pay directly on the SUSIVE website through your license plate number. This option is more expensive, the cobro automático. It comes out to 207 pesos or $5.39. The other lane option is solo telepeaje. It'll say solo telepeaje on the sign. And for this option, you have already purchased a tag for your car specifically for these tolls. You preload the tag, and as you go through the tolls, it lets you know what your balance is. And this is the cheapest option. It comes out to 162 pesos per toll that you pass, which comes out to $4.22. And driving is just a great way to explore the Uruguayan countryside, kind of like sites less known, and especially the coastal areas. If you are curious of driving to Brazil from Uruguay, you can drive up along the Uruguayan coast and cross over the border there in the city called Tranquil. So that's all that I have for you guys. Thank you so much for listening or watching this podcast. If this episode helped clarify things for you, please like, follow, or subscribe to the show and share your thoughts, questions, or comments because I read them all. My goal of Tranquil Living Uruguay is to be your passport to Uruguay, a place I call a hidden gem south of the equator. Whether you're traveling through or if you're an aspiring expat, I am sharing real-life lived experiences from the perspective of an American Latina millennial expat. And remember, life abroad doesn't have to be perfect, but should be tranquil. Cheers!